Ben, it's time for the news. What's been happening this week, mate?
Okay, yeah, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is from the guys at Games Workshop. Now, obviously, they're releasing Soul Wars and all these new Nighthawk and Stormcast models and stuff like that for Age of Sigmar, but also they're looking back into the past and bringing back to the fore some of the old Warhammer Fantasy Battle miniatures that maybe you'll remember. So, in this one, they're going to be looking at the likes of the Tomb Kings, the Vampire Counts, Orcs and Goblins, and also the Ogre Kingdoms. Starting out with Cetra, who you'll see there, Cetra the Imperishable, who was one of the leaders for the Tomb Kings back in the day. Again, the model itself for Cetra stands up very, very well. I think it's just the horses, the skeletal horses, that don't quite work nowadays. I think they're a bit old, but other than that, I think Cetra's come out very, very nicely. And then you move on to seeing Queen Khalida as well, who I think is one of the best miniatures they ever did for the Tomb Kings range. Absolutely fantastic model. Love the mask and love the amount of detail they worked into there as well. We then move on to the likes of the Zacharias the Ever-Living, who some of the old Hammer fans will recognise as he Sentinel on his zombie dragon there. Very cool.
Yeah, I remember him.
That zombie dragon is showing its age.
It definitely is. It's very much one of the old style sculpts where it's a big, huge, twisted style dragon that sort of stands up in one point effectively rather than being spread out like the new ones are. But yes, very cool. There's also Grom the Paunch, if you like your Orcs and Goblins. So once again, we've got a really cool looking old Hammer style model on the back there with those slightly dated walls, but otherwise looking very, very cool. And then there's also Gorbad Ironclaw, who was the scourge, the terror of 7th and 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy. An absolutely fantastic model there, leaping forward upon his war boar. And then we finish things off with something that's a little bit of a favourite for the guys who love the Ogre Kingdoms. You've got Greasus Goldtooth there being pulled along by his cavalcade of Noblars as well, which I thought was a fantastic looking model and kind of looks back towards that dark comic feel that we all love about Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Now, of course, these are all part of the Made to Order series, so these are only going to be available for a very, very limited time. So if you want these, they're going to be going up this weekend, and they'll be going out for, I think it's about a week that they'll be on pre-order. So if you want to pick those up, you've got a chance to do it, and then they'll be gone back into the annals of history, and you'll have to go and wait and see what they come up with next for the Made to Order scheme as well. So yes, some very cool old school looking miniatures. If you like your Warhammer Fantasy Battles, got some excellent choices there to get stuck in with. And of course, maybe you could use them in Age of Sigmar as well. The aesthetics might not match quite as well, but yeah, I think they'd look pretty good. Especially something like Gorbad, for example. So,
Gorbad, I think, would probably fit very easily into Age of Sigmar.
Oh, yeah.
With the Oryx. But maybe not so much Grom the Paunch.
Maybe not.
I don't know, you could get away with that.
No, I don't think so. Age of Sigmar doesn't quite have that same comedic feel that the old Warhammer Fantasy Battles used to have.
If you have the right opponent, you can introduce it.
Yeah, but that's not intrinsic to the game, that's to the opponent.
Yeah.
And sure, that's a fun thing, but I don't think he quite matched them on saying, I love the model. It's one of my favourites, and I'm really happy to see it make a return, albeit in this limited run.
Yeah, I do like the way the wolves look on his actual chariot. I think they hold up pretty well.
Bring it up there a second.
Yeah, sure. Where are you, my little friend? There you are, my little friend.
Yeah. When you look towards some of the newer styles of the wolves, like the Fenrisian ones and stuff like that, suddenly you start to see a lot more dynamism in the sculpts. But back in the day, I did, as you guys say, I loved those wolves. I thought they were fantastic. They were the kind of ones that were always used for dire wolves as well in your Vampire Counts armies and things. But yeah, it's it shows its age, but it's still very cool indeed. So,
I don't know. I mean, it looks like a 90s cartoon villain to me. I can just imagine him going, "Damn it! The Stormcaster tunnels have foiled my plan once more."
Yeah, pretty much. Now, for me, my personal favourite of that range has to be Greasus Goldtooth. That was an old favourite of mine. It's just such a different model to anything else Warhammer did at the time and has done since.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've stopped getting misty-eyed about all those.
Do you feel old? You can get misty-eyed now. You've leveled up.
I just miss Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Okay. Oathmark. What's going on there?
Yeah, so from an old fantasy game to a new one, Oathmark Battle for the Lost Stage is going to be coming out very, very soon in the near future. But the guys at North Star were showing off some previews for some of the new plastic humans that they're doing for the range. Now they've done so far dwarves, orcs, no, not non-orcs, dwarves, goblins, and elves, and now they're going to be doing humans. And this was just a little preview showing off some of the different ways you can build up your human soldiers when you're getting down to the tabletop. So they've got a range of different weapon options, head options, and all that kind of thing like that. Options for you to build command aspects to your group as well, which I thought was very, very cool. So if you're into playing up your huge mass ranked battle games and stuff like that, you've got some new options coming on this way. And of course, if you want to get stuck into some skirmish games, you've also got some options there as well. But yeah, what North Star are doing with this range is looking absolutely fantastic. I love the way that they're working with their plastic kits, giving you loads of interesting options, a little bit like what they did when you looked at the Frostgrave ranges and stuff like that as well. So you can obviously do a little bit of mixing and matching between the two if you wanted to, because they're all sort of heroic 28 mil. And yeah, some very cool stuff coming out from the guys at North Star and Osprey for the world of Oathmark. Some very cool stuff as well. I would also point out the model at the bottom, which is the painted one. That was the sort of like test miniature that was done when the human range was just getting formulated, and that will be available as a limited edition model as part of the pre-orders. So if you want that particular model, which could be used as a champion or something like that, or a hero character for your army, then you've got that option there as well, coming up very, very soon. So yeah.
I'm going to say there are things I like and I dislike about these guys. So I like the variety. I love the fact that they've got an archer who actually has an arrow knocked to his bow. I think it's one of my pet peeves is if you see someone drawing back on a bow, have they just fired or what's going on? That's really nice. The one thing I wish they wouldn't do.
Yeah, what's that?
One thing. The tabs at the feet.
The tabs at the feet?
Yeah. See those little pre-done base things? It makes them feel just a little bit army men. If those were gone, these would just be so much nicer.
I've never minded tabs at the feet like that. No. I always think that actually helps base things a lot more easily. And it's easily enough. I
will point out.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I will point out just that archer for a second. His arrow is on the wrong side of his bow, but